Welcome to this multi-locational meeting of the Licensing and Gambling Committee being held on Friday the 14th of November 2025. My name is Councillor Shane Williams and I'll be chairing this licensing meeting today. Just to remind you all, this meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be made available to view via the Council's website, except for discussions involving confidential or exempt items. Therefore, the images and audio of those individuals present and or speaking will be publicly available to all via the recording on the Council's website. Can I just check the officers we've got present, please?
Good morning, Chair. Members, Lee Morgan, Licensing Manager.
Good morning, Chair. Sandra Lewis-Williams, Assistant Licensing Manager.
Good morning, Chair. James Campbell, Solicitor.
Thank you, and can I welcome the supporting officers, Andrea and Sharon. Just to remind you, if you lose connection during a meeting, please make every attempt to reconnect. The meeting will remain whilst it's quorate, and committee services are here to help if you lose connection. We'll now move on to the agenda. Apologies for absence. I know that we have had a couple of apologies from Councillor Walter Williams and Councillor Colin Gordon. Councillors and officers are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and or prejudicial interest in respect of any item of business on this agenda in accordance with the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and the Code of Conduct for both councillors and officers. Please indicate if you have any such declarations. Councillor, please.
Fine, thank you, Chair. Yes, just checking, really. Andrew Whitcomb, I did put his apologies in. You had this?
Thank you, Denver, but he's not a member of this committee.
I wasn't quite sure. That's fine. Right, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, please. So if there's no declarations of interest, I'll now move on to Lee Morgan, our licensing manager.
Well, thank you, Chair, and welcome and good morning, members. The first report for your consideration and determinations this morning relates to your role as members of the Licensing and Gambling Committee, and I would ask you that you consider the report in relation to fees for gambling licences, registrations and permits under the Gambling Act 2005. You will note that this report sets out that the fees for gambling licences are set locally primarily, whereas other fee types such as licences issued under the Licensing Act 2003 are a central government responsibility. Members, you will note that a further fee type mentioned in this report in relation to special procedure licensing is also locally set. However, this will be subject to its own fee setting review, primarily because it's only been in for a period of just over or just less than a year, actually. Members, a review of the Licensing Act gambling fees applicable to the 21 premises that we have in the borough for 25-26 has been undertaken. You will note that it is proposed that there will be an increase in the cost of new Gambling Act applications by an amount of £15 and to increase the annual fees applicable to those licence holders by £20. You'll see these details within the Appendix 1 of your document. Members, Appendix 2 details a proposed increase in relation to temporary use notices by an amount of £10. Temporary use notices, members, very few and far between within the authority and primarily for temporary gambling in things like hotels, which is very, very rare. Members, existing licence holders under the Gambling Act were notified of the consultation, and that was a public consultation that was conducted earlier this year, and comments were invited, and a copy of the consultation document is enclosed at Appendix 3 for your information to show how we approached the fees survey. You will note from the report, members, that there were no comments received in respect of gambling fees on this occasion. Members, therefore, I would simply draw your attention then to the recommendation at 3.1 of the report, and subject to any questions from members, I would ask you to approve the fees as detailed within Appendixes 1 and 2. I would ask you then to note the fees in relation to the Licensing Act as detailed in Appendix 4. And again, just note that there will be that the special procedure licenses, as mentioned, which is under the remit of this committee, would be subject to their own review. So, relatively short this morning, Chair, on this this area in relation to Gambling Act licenses. I would come back to you, Chair, so I can perhaps answer any queries or questions that members may have this morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Lee. I'll now open this up to questions. If we have any questions for Lee? And I take it that, as you say, there was, despite the consultation went out, but there was no recorded comments.
Not in relation to these fee types. A second report you will consider in your role as taxi in general, they were.
There were some.
However, but purely in relation to the Gambling Act, no, Chair, on this occasion.
Okay.
That's where we are.
Thank you very much for that. I can't see any other hands up. So the recommendations are on page 1 of the pack. And to consider and approve the level of fees proposed under the Gambling Act 2005 for 2025 to 26. It's outlined in Appendix 1. Do we have a mover for that?
I'll second you.
Thank you. Do you want to take that to the vote? Thank you very much. That is unanimous. And just to reference the other recommendations about noting the level of fees charged in connection with the gambling permits, and that the fees that are subject for special procedures will be subject to their own review. So I think we've all note those recommendations. And I think that closes this part of the meeting. So I'll close this part of the meeting and. Okay, and just to confirm that